Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting. I've been playing a little bit with monochrome, and the original design that I had for yesterday's video was to do something like this, where I had the double layer technique, stamp on it, and then I couldn't work out what was wrong. Then I realised that this panel was upside down, so I kind of lost my temper with that, and so I ended up doing something a lot more simple. However, I love this because I absolutely love these Forever Blossoms stamp set. It's just beautiful, and I do love black and white. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do love black and white. But I continue to play with the whole kind of monochrome sort of theme today, and I started playing with the Beautiful Moments stamp set. It's not something that I've used a great deal, but I just love this. I'm a mum of two daughters and a son, but I'm a mum of two daughters, and this absolutely reminds me of them. Years and years ago, they're in their 20s now, but years ago when they used to go off on the seaside with their buckets, and this is Phoebe, and that is most definitely Lily. Just looks just like them, and I love this, and that's the stamp set that I'm using today. So I started having a little bit of a play around, and so I started doing this, and I wanted to have the same colour but three kind of different shades of it. So I used ink and an aqua blender, so I had something that was very, very light, very watery, and then something was very dark, and then this in between. So I had that, and then I came up with the final thing that I wanted to do, because I just wanted something a little bit more definite. I don't know the word I mean there. I don't know. Anyway, so I come up with that. That's what I wanted. That is what I wanted. And then I used this sentiment as well from the same stamp set, and then I went and stuck it on crooked. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to show you how I've put that together, and just have a little chat with you while I'm crafting. I think if I didn't make YouTube videos, I wouldn't craft. So this is the whole reason I'm doing it. So if you're here with me and you just want an idea, remember that I just do simple crafting. I can't do the complicated stuff. I leave that to the experts who do that extremely well. But I just know when I first got into paper crafting, and even now, I don't want to do complicated things. I like the simpler the better for me. And that's why I've gone with that. Let me show you how I've done it. I'll give you all of the dimensions. The dimensions will be in my blog as well, and I've left a link to that in the description bar. So start off with a standard card base made from an A4 sheet of paper, and then I've just cut it in half on the long side. So if you're in the UK, I've cut it in half on the long side at 5 7/8. If you are using US A4, that's going to be different, and I can never remember the measurements. And then what I've done then is scored it then at the new long side at 4 1/8. And again, if you're using US A4, that won't be 4 1/8, it will be something else. So if you are watching this in the US, make sure you get your measurements right. But basically, you're cutting it in half at the long side, and then you're scoring it down the middle on the long side. Can't be simpler than that. So there's my card base. And you don't have to use white, you can use any colour you like. So I'm going to stick with the ink that I've used here. So this is Rich Razzleberry. I think whenever I do a video, I say, oh, that's my favourite colour. I think all of these are my favourite colours, but Rich Razzleberry, loved it. Just loved it. I can't remember where I first discovered it. It was in a particular, just in a particular DSP, and it was one of the first inks that I bought when I became a demonstrator. So that's what we're going to do with that. So the layers that I've got a piece of Rich Razzleberry cardstock, and I've not got much of this left now. Rich Razzleberry cardstock, and this measures 4 inches by 5 3/4. And then I have a piece of Whisper White that measures 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. And then 2 small pieces. This measures 2.5 by 1 inch, and this measures 2 3/8 by 7/8 of an inch. My goodness, it's nearly 10 o'clock at night, and I've remembered all of my measurements without looking them up. So let's start off with that. This is the piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. And I'm going to get my stamp. So I'm going to start off with the lady walking in the grass. I wonder what she's thinking about as she's walking in the grass. I get my smoky slate. And I'm going to load up my stamp. And this has got to sit right in the middle of that piece of card. Now I'm still eyeballing it. I'm kind of looking at the side of my block, just eyeballing it. And obviously there's a little bit more room at the bottom because I want to put my sentiment there, and I'll sit here and think about this for way too long. Let's just get that down. That's my husband sneezing downstairs, if you heard that. Then load up the ink again, load up the stamp again with ink. And this one, obviously it's going to go over the paper, and that's fine. But what I want to do is just get it level with the other stamp. Let's just do it. Sit there thinking about it for ages. Yep. Same here. And there we go. Let's put the block to one side. I'll come back to that in a second when I stamp my sentiment. But let's put the grey ink away. I don't need that now. Now I'm going to get my rich raspberry ink, and I'm going to get my aqua blender. So with these you get 2 in a pack, and you just unscrew it. You watch me get water everywhere now. Just unscrew it here like that. Pour your water in and off you go, and you kind of just squeeze it a bit to get the bristles wet, and then you really, I've never had to keep squeezing. I think it just kind of oozes its way down to the end. I think I've never really looked to see how this works, but there you go. And then I've got my ink, and you just give it a squeeze like that, and then what happens is it transfers into this part of your ink pad. So what I want to do, what I've done here, is just colour in just the dress. That's all. This is just about the rich raspberry, nothing else. I did think about colouring in her hair and a bit of grass, and then stopped because, I don't know, just stopped. Oh, I thought that was a bit of ink on there. Let's get that off. It's a little bit of sparkle from something. So with this, so this is what I was working on earlier. I probably didn't need to squeeze that again. So you decide how intense you want that to be. And if you've not done this before, stamp on something and have a little practice. But when I do this, I just like to keep the strokes all in one direction. And you don't want it to be one block of colour. Now, I am no artist whatsoever, but I practiced this a few times now, and you want different shades of that going through just to give it some fluidity. So it looks like it's, can you see her hair here? It's not hanging straight. There's a little bit of a breeze going on, and that's what's happening to her dress as well. So you just want to make sure that you've got something. It's just not a block of colour, if you can. So again, just it's kind of difficult to see where her dress starts and the hair starts. Don't worry too much about it. This is just about colouring in the dress. And then where where these lines are, you could just intensify the colour there. Like that. And it just shows, I think it just gives it a bit of movement, and I'm going to leave that there. I don't want to do too much with that. Although, I kind of feel that this needs to put that in there. I don't know why. Anyway, so that's the colouring finished there. That is all I want to do with that. Now, if you think, no, that's not finished, I need to, I want to colour in her hair and colour in her skin and put some green on the grass, absolutely fine. You know, this is just this is how I wanted to do it. And I might just do this again and decide to colour in her hair and that. But I just wanted to stop there. I just wanted this to be about the colour. So let's get the card back again and then we can stamp our sentiments. So I'm just going to mount that onto the rich raspberry cardstock. Let's get some glue. Get that on there like that, just give it a little wiggle just to get it absolutely straight. And I'm not pressing that too much at the moment because it will still be a little bit wet. I am pushing it down because that is wet. It will buckle a little bit. And the other thing as well, don't put too much colour on it because you will make that card wet. And as soon as you start making it too wet, it will start to break down. So that's why, again, it's just using very light strokes on that. Wasn't pushing too hard on that at all. We're going to load this onto the card base. Get that stuck on there like that. And then I want to put my sentiment on there. So that's what these two small pieces are for. And I'm going to use the sentiment from the same stamp set. Now I think that this sentiment is really apt. Let me show you in the stamp set. Collect beautiful moments. Now, in the situation that we're in at the moment, I don't want to talk too much about it because I've rambled on enough about it. We are in a situation where we're having to stay at home. A lot of my friends are having to look after younger children, and this whole thing has made us just kind of stop and take stock of what we've got and having to look after our kids, possibly, homeschool them and sitting down and spending perhaps more time with them than we would have done, and going off on lots of walks. So I think this is a time when we are going to collect those moments, and it might not necessarily be with your kids, it might be with your with your husband, with your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, your partner. And it's made me, I'm talking to my husband a whole lot more, and we haven't fallen out yet. I find that amazing. So, and I'm collecting those beautiful moments. All of my children have decided to stay with their boyfriends or girlfriends. They didn't want to stay with me. I'm not bitter at all. And, so I'm having to spend a lot more time with my husband. And sometimes it's just been a little bit strange. We've actually, we're sorting things out in the house, and it's been really nice. Why do I sound so surprised about that? I don't know. Probably because I can be quite sarcastic and argumentative and impatient and selfish. Anyway, I'm just going to stick that on there, and I'll try and get this on straight this time because the original one that I made was a bit crooked. So I'm going to take a bit of care on this one. And look at that, the ink is smudged, which means I'm going to do that again. that's never happened to me, smudging the ink. Normally this ink dries really quickly. How annoying. Right, so this was 1 and, oh no it wasn't, it was 1 3/8. That's not big enough, is it? 1 3/8, 2 3/8 even. Oh my goodness. 2 3/8 by 7/8 of an inch. And do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to stick this straight on top of the other one. No one will ever know except you and me. Right, let's get that back. So where I wanted this video to be less than 15 minutes long, it's now more than 15 minutes long. Never mind. Oh dear, now that's crooked. Right, I've got one last chance to get this right. Okay, there we go. So let's just let that dry for a minute. Get some glue on the back of it. So just while we're waiting for that ink to dry and I don't splodge it again, Tuesday the 31st of March is the last day that you can join Stampin' Up and get a whole load of stuff for 99 quid. So you choose £130 worth of goods from the catalogue and the mini catalogue, a combination of both if you want. And you also get a free mini cutter and you get a free stamp set of your choice. All of that for £99 delivered free to your door. If you want any further information on that, luckily for you, I'm working from home, so if you emailed me at taffycrafting@gmail.com, I will be able to respond to your query straight away. But can't talk and think at the same time. But yes, so just drop me an email about that. Come and join my team. And you know, if you just wanted to take part in that offer and you weren't interested in being in a team or being a Stampin' Up demonstrator, no problem at all. There is no obligation to do anything. I promise you that. So put our sentiment on there. And there we have it. So that's the Beautiful Moments stamp set with rich razzleberry for all of my friends out there who are currently staying at home, working from home, looking after their children from home and trying to keep home in an orderly disposition at the moment. Collect those beautiful moments, make the most of them. I'll be back again hopefully tomorrow with another project and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.